Tell me when you want to be in time. There's a million different places and a million different heights. I'll climb the tallest of the mountains, the highest place I find, so that I can look over before me what is mine. Can you say that I disappeared? Can you say that I wasn't there for you when you went into hiding on the front steps of your porch? And I reflected on the memories, but I put out that torch. Hey! But I put out that torch. But I put out that torch. Oh, why can't you see it was all because of me? And all I want is to be free, and finally I can be free. Can you say that I disappeared?
Okay. We're going to get started here. Let me just close all this out. So, we are going to be recording the tail end of this audiobook I've been working on, and that's the reason why videos haven't been really consistent, is because I was paid to do this, so I'm kind of putting it as priority. Yeah. There's not really much else to it than that, but yeah. So, this might be boring as shit. I don't know. I just thought it might be fun for me to live stream it, so I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. So we're gonna get started. Yeah. So I have, I would say like another hour and a half of recording to do. So we're just gonna make the most out of it. Yeah. This story in particular is about a half hour long, maybe a little bit more. So what happened was yesterday I tried recording this, and about 2 minutes before the end of the story, which I'm a big dum dum and didn't save my progress during the story, we, well, Audacity crashed, and the upcoming project didn't save. So everything I did yesterday was gone. So I have to record. I already know about this entire story. I have to record everything from the start. So, yeah. That's going to be fun. And the fertility project is the last story, but it's the longest one, so I'm getting it out of the way first. So, without further ado, shut up, Fleckathon. So, without further ado, we're just going to get into this. Alright, I gotta be able to see you guys typing, so. Alright, let's get into this. First, I gotta take my big old swig of water. Not sponsored by Fiji, but I would totally willing to do that. Alright. The Fertility Project. Let's do this. The Fertility Project. You may have asked yourself at least once in your life, if you can go back in time, what would you change? I never contemplated that question until recently, and now I think about it every day. Regret my decision to ever join that damned project. Oh, I already fucked up. Regret my decision. Alright. It's like a hair on my thing. Ugh. Regret my decision to ever join that damned experiment. If I knew then what I know now, I would have taken the pencil from Richard's desk and stabbed him in the neck over and over until he died. Jail time would be a small price to pay for that. Let me take it from the top. I work in this... Ugh. Is my Discord still a thing? It is not. I got rid of it a long time ago because nobody was talking in it. So, and it was dead, so I just decided, no. It's not. I might make one in the future. But right now, no. I work as an assistant in genetics at a college, which you may not have heard of before. Either way, to keep things safe, I won't disclose any important information to protect myself and anyone else who may have somehow related to the matter. Professor Richards was a prominent person in the college, adored by both students and his coworkers for his dedication to his work and his extensive knowledge and ability to motivate his attendees to contribute in the lessons and outside of them. He often conducted projects here and there, small experiments to prove or debunk a theory or something else, and more often than not, he had a plethora of student volunteers who were willing to do all the work for him. I rarely participated in any... I rarely participated in any of these projects. I rarely participated in any of the projects, save for when it was really piquing my interest. Signal sucks. Have a great day. I'm sorry. I love you. Projects. Save for when it really piqued my interest on a matter that I wanted to see the results on. Richards trusted me the most, and always gave me the most sensitive task to perform, passing on his knowledge onto me onto the process. Onto the process? Are you serious? Are you serious? Passing on his knowledge onto me in the process. Why? Fucking voice crack. Really? Passing on his knowledge onto me in the process. More often than not, he was like a fatherly figure to me, rather than a superior. He could probably sense that I grew up without a father's love, so he stepped in to take me under his wing. Now when I look back, I start to realize that he probably never really cared, but needed someone that he can use for his twisted, insidious intentions. It all started a few months ago, when he invited me to his office with a proposal he was very excited about. "How would you like to be a part of history, Victor?" he asked me. Of course, I was always willing to take up big projects, especially if there was a chance for recognition, so I immediately answered, "Yes." "Well, we have one big project upcoming," Richard said. "The biggest one yet. If everything goes well with it, we'll be famous and rich. You'll never have to work as an assistant another day in your life." I asked him what this was about, and he handed me a folder. When I opened it, I saw with big bold letters the name The Fertility Project, in short. Oh, no, fucking... Ugh. Orla, how you doing? Welcome to the most boring live stream ever. I saw with big bold letters the name The Fertility Project. In short, the documents describe what the project would be about, who would participate, and how long it would last. I fucked up. And how long it would last. The purpose of the project was simple. Find female test subjects that were... well, this is going to take forever. Find female test subjects that were unable to conceive children and artificially impregnate them. Aside from Richards and I, there would be 12... There would be 12 volunteering students from the college, and 5 female test subjects. I carefully reviewed the documents and saw that the project was funded by the college. I carefully reviewed the documents and saw that the project was funded by the college. Not that I had any suspicions about Richard's authenticity at the time. Anyway, he said that if I wanted to participate, I would have to sign an NDA and make sure not to tell anyone, under the threat of federal violation and long jail time. The same went for the students. If they told anyone about the project, including their family members, they risked getting kicked out of college and facing jail time. Although I disliked the idea of being chained down like that, at the time it seemed like a small price to pay for such greatness. I signed it. I signed it, and Richards whipped it out. I signed it, and Richards whipped out 2 Cuban cigars. Been saving these for a special occasion. Don't get any more special than this, he said as he gave me one and lit it up. Who do we got in here? Sean? Aisha? Hello? What you doing? We are doing an audiobook. It's probably going to be a long stream here, longer than usual anyway. So, get comfy. Oh, you're feeling bored? You came to the wrong place. This is not going to be entertaining in the slightest. This is going to be entertaining for me because you guys are here. Probably not for you, though. I was scheduled to meet Richards in the biology and genetics building in 2 days, and when I arrived, I was surprised to see a guardhouse instead of a gate, and a guard sitting inside. The college had somehow managed to set this up seemingly overnight. The college had somehow managed to set this up seemingly overnight. The guard asked for my name, and I gave it to him, too confused and docile at the moment to refuse. The guard politely explained that with the upcoming project, the college had to hire a security company to keep things safe. He said there were 5 guards in total, each stationed in a separate part of the campus, with one guard being in the biology building at all times. I'm going to record that last line again. With one guard being in the biology building at all times. I asked the guard if they knew what the project was about, but they seemed oblivious to it. All they knew was they had to keep the college guards safe. They had to keep the guards safe from the guards. All they knew was that they had to keep the college grounds safe from any suspicious or violent activities. I gave him a courteous smile and left to meet Richards. When I arrived, another guard stood in front of Richards' office and stopped me from entering. "It's okay, he's with me," Richards shouted, and the guard let me through. I went inside, and all the project's participants were there, including the students and the 5 female subjects. The subjects were women, but... Shut up, air freshener. I have to turn you off, because you've been a bad boy. You've been a bad heckin' boy. There we go. What we got here? Yeah, one of my followers Twitter requested banner from his Patreon. I was trying to make one today, but the audio kept skipping for some reason. Well done. Subjects. All right. The subjects were women between the ages of 20 and 28, and while Richards and I were I can't fucking talk. And while Richards and I were permitted to go home at the end of the day, the students and subjects had to remain inside of the building at all times. "Professor Richards, we don't have adequate rooms for them to stay here," I said. "Everything has been arranged," Richards said. "The students will be staying on the 2nd floor, while the subjects will be on the 3rd floor. Since the project is so secretive, the guard is not permitted to leave the 1st floor. His job here will be to prevent anyone unwanted from entering the building, or in the worst-case scenario, to stop students from leaving before the project is over. Unless they sign the paper to void the contract, that is, in which case they would need to refund the college for the funds provided to the... In which case they would need to refund the college for the funds provided to the project. Trust me when I say, the funds are extremely high, and you probably wouldn't want to do it. Now, let's show you all to your rooms." My eyes widened when we went up to the 2nd floor, and I realized that 2 of the classrooms have been completely rearranged into unrecognizable rooms. Instead of chairs and desks, there were night tables and beds, giving off the impression of a dorm rather than the study building. The 3rd floor was even stranger, with the classrooms not only being rearranged, but the entire floor seemingly renovated to instead have a row of 5 doors, which led into tiny cells. The women were each assigned to a cell and locked. It was explained that this was for their own safety, but should they want to drop out of the experiment at any given moment, they were free to do so. Again, he emphasized the price they have to pay for such a choice. I started getting a bad feeling by this point. None of the I was doing so well. I intended to do something more soon, because it's Friday the 13th. Told you. Bites. Why are people biting me? I'm so confused. Why am I... He was warned in advance. What am I doing? What did I do? I was warned of biting? I'm so confused. I don't understand. I started getting a bad feeling by this point. None of this seemed right. Wait, did I already record that? I started getting... Yeah, I already recorded that. Fuck. Okay. Control S, by the way. Fertility project. Because we're going to save like every 5 minutes in this bitch so we don't lose what we lost yesterday. Alright. None of this seemed right, and no matter how many times Richards uttered the word voluntary, nothing seemed so about this. The students and the women seemed very enthusiastic, however, and were hanging on every word the professor said, obeying their orders without questions. On the first day, holy shit, the wind is fucking whipping. Wow. That's bad. That's a lot of damage. Because I keep making mistakes. Do you realize how hard this was? Do you see all of these? Look at this. Look at this. This isn't the only story. Look at how many fucking stories I had to narrate for this damn audiobook. I think there's 52 stories in total. I have done 47 so far. So, whatever, okay? I'm trying my best here. Obeying their orders without questions. Wait, where am I? Fuck, I just fucked up. Orla sings in her vid, so okay, I understand that. I don't understand what. Okay, what's your point? Please tell me your point. Oh, you have none. That's what. Haha. This wind is ridiculous. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I was. Okay. On the first day, the crew... I fucked up already. The crew went to the lab and created a solution, which was put into vials and injected into the subjects. Each student had his own role, ranging from performing subject checkups, preparing food for the project members, role. Fucking numbers. I fucked up. Ranging from performing subject checkups, preparing food for the project members, and taking blood samples. My duty was to oversee the entire situation and assist if necessary, while providing medical help in case of an emergency. At around 3 p.m., all initial tests have been completed, so Richards instructed the students to go back into their dorm rooms, while he told me to follow him into his office. He sat by his computer, a wide grin on his face at the satisfaction of a job well done for the day. "I'll have one task for you, Victor," he said. "You may go home whenever you want, but what I may need with your help But what I may need your help with is monitoring the subjects. Come here." He gestured, and I went around his table to look at the PC screen. On the screen were 5 camera feeds, monitoring the subjects' cells. "I'll be sleeping in the office," he said, "but if something comes up for me, I will need you to monitor the subjects. I will need you to monitor the subjects." It sounded like an order, not a request. "Sure, Professor. You can count on me," I said, trying to... Come on. I said, trying to hide my uncertainty. "All right. Well, that's it for the first day. You can go home now. Get some rest. We'll have a lot of work ahead of us tomorrow." For days, nothing changed, and the crew performed their regular duties during the day. And then about a week later, subjects 2 and 4 started to complain about extreme isolation they were subject to. They asked to be let out, but Richards outright refused, reminding them about the cost they would need to pay. Despite that, Subject 2 protested, so Richards ordered one of the students to sedate her. He did as instructed, and the subject fell asleep. It was around 8 p.m. when I went into Richard's office to report for the day. Oh. Fuck. It was around 8 p.m. when I went into Richard's office to report the day's findings. And I realized... Oh my god. And I realized that subject 2 was still asleep. Professor Richards, the subject should not be asleep for that long. She shouldn't. She shouldn't, he said. But she's not sleeping. She's been euthanized. My eyes widened... Oh my god. My eyes widened in horror. What did you say? We couldn't let... My god, come on, man. My fucking mouth needs to work. We couldn't risk letting her out. The student doesn't know what he did, so let's keep it that way. We don't want him racking himself with guilt. Are you out of your mind? You killed her! I raised my voice, to which he gave me a stern look. Know your place, boy. This project is the most important thing we'll ever work on. We can't let it go to waste because nobody decided to opt out of it and disclose secret information. You can't be serious. I am. And Subject 4 has been complaining as well. And I'm going to need you to euthanize her. That's out of the question. We had a heated discussion and I told him I'll be leaving the project and reporting him to the police. When he whipped out the papers and showed them to me, he pointed to the section which showed that I agreed to be part of the project until it was finished. And if there came any misconduct, all participants will be treated as equally guilty. You son of a bitch. He simply smirked and I told... I was doing so well. Yeah, this story gets so much fucking crazier, trust me. He simply smirked and told me to do my job, handing me the injection. I hesitated for a long time, but in the end I had to do it. I was afraid of going to prison so much that I didn't even care if I had to end someone else's life. That doesn't take away from the fact that I felt extremely guilty given the patients and I'm fucking up on the same parts as yesterday, too. That doesn't take away from the fact that I felt extremely guilty giving the patient an injection, while lying to the face that she'd be back to her husband tomorrow by noon. Richards even made me dispose of the bodies, and made me agree on a story with him to tell to the student... Oh my god. And made me agree on a story with him to tell the students that the subjects were released in the middle of the night. I agreed to everything he said, feeling sick to my stomach. He told me to go home and take the next day off. Off! He told me to go home and take the next day off. I did as he commanded, and needless to say, got no sleep that night. I battled with myself the entire next day on whether I should go to the authorities. But again, I was too selfish and afraid for myself to do so. When I returned for work the following day... I lost my place. I found Richards and the students in one of the classrooms, ecstatic. When I asked what was going on, Richards said, Victor, we did it. Subjects 1 and 3 are pregnant. This is a huge breakthrough in science. My jaw dropped. I honestly haven't even thought about the potential sex... Sex? Really? Sex? Hey. I honestly haven't even thought about the potential success of the project, so I was surprised to say the least. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited myself. This was This was indeed a breakthrough in science. We wasted no time performing I can't. Oh, I hate this. I hate this so much. Science. Okay, so we're obviously going to save here. No. I'm clicking Control S. What is happening? Fine. Cool. We wasted no time performing checkups on the subjects, taking blood samples, etc. Over the next few days, the subjects' weights have been increasing rapidly, and their stomachs have grown in size. Ultrasound displayed the growth of the fetus at an abnormal rate, and we started to get a little worried, since the size which we had seen by then was not supposed to be visible by the first trimester, let alone just 3 weeks. Richards ordered us to carefully monitor the subjects, in case their health started to slip up. Ugh, got hair in my mouth. Poof. And then came the worst day I've ever experienced during the project. Damn it, voice crack. And then came the worst day I've ever experienced during the project. It was day 26, I remember distinctly, and Subject 1 was complaining about the severe pain in her stomach. I examined her, and the baby was kicking with extreme force, so much that I can see the bulges from the impact on the subject's stomach. I begged Richards to take the subject to a hospital, but he wouldn't hear it. He told me to give her some painkillers and get back into his office. By this time, the students were already asleep in their rooms, and since the cells were on the third... And since the cells on the... I can't with this. And since the cells on the 3rd floor were soundproof, not even the subjects from adjacent cells heard the woman screaming, let alone anyone else. Richards and I observed the Subject 1 on camera, as she writhed in pain. She banged on the floor, begging to be let out, after which she lay on the bed holding her stomach and screaming in pure agony. I saw her stomach stretching out, as if something poked it from the inside. Then her skin ripped open, and a tiny hand emerged. Blood sprayed out like a fountain, and I saw a deformed, blood-covered head pop out, further opening the abdomen. The subject screamed, now more in terror than pain, as she helplessly watched her baby burst through her own stomach. Only seconds later, her head dropped onto the bed, and she stopped moving. The baby started crying, but it was a kind of cry I had never heard before. It sounded guttural and gurgling. "Victor, what are you waiting for?" Richards yelled. "Go take care of the baby." I stared at the thing on the camera, unable to move. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't human. It had an abnormally large head, extremities of unequal proportions, and a voice that sounded anything but human. It cried vigorously for a while, gradually losing its potency, and coming completely silent. "Victor!" Richards yelled again, but I was frozen in place. Richards violently stood up and stormed out of his office. I saw on the cameras that he was entering cell 1. I came to my senses and figured that I had... I was doing so well. This is neat. It is neat. 1. I came to my senses and figured that I had to ensure myself somehow, or stop the project. I browsed Richard's desktop and found the folder containing the details of the project. I glanced at the camera and realized that Richards was examining the dead baby and mother. I entered his email and sent all the details of the project to my email, nervously tapping on the desk as the files transferred. Richard was done wrapping the... Richards was done wrapping the bodies in a sheet and started coming back. So as soon as the email was sent, I deleted the sent mail. I deleted the sent mail and returned on the camera feed, stepping away from the PC. Richards
This is getting rough, guys. I don't know about this one, man.
Something people normally don't see of when they think about audiobooks. True. Very true. I don't know how professional this is going to be, though. There's way more professional stuff with audiobooks. Stepping away from the PC. Stepping away from the PC. Okay, yeah, I fucking get it. Richards burst inside, beads of sweat forming on his temples. Are they dead? Of course they're dead, you idiot. I shall report you to the project stakeholders for insubordination. Excuse me? If you had arrived in time, the baby of the subject could have survived. That's not true. I'm not even trained to handle this sort of situation. Richard sat in his chair and exhaled deeply, rubbing his eyes. The bodies are wrapped up. Take them into the basement, he said sternly. I dreaded the idea of carrying around a dead mother and her infant, but I didn't want to defy the professor right now, to avoid arousing suspicion. I hauled the bodies downstairs and returned to Richard's office, who still seemed pretty pissed. Go home, he said, staring at the screen of his computer. Professor, if you need help, I can leave. Papa Dewey. All right. He didn't need to tell me again. I wished him a good night and left, still shaking. As soon as I got home, I downloaded the contents of the email and deleted any remaining evidence. I could use this somehow, but I was too tired and traumatized to think of a plan. I went to bed, the events of the night replaying in my head. That night, I kept having recurring nightmares of deformed, monstrous toddlers chasing me. When I woke up, I found the reality to be barely better than the haunting nightmares that I had. But I had to go back to work. I knew Richards had me by the balls, and I had no choice but to comply with his demands. When I arrived, the students were going about their normal everyday activities. Richards explained that he lied to the students and told them Subject 1 had to be taken to the hospital due to complications. I was appalled by his actions, but then remembered that I'm not much different, so I stopped myself from judging him too much. Out of the 5 subjects, only 2 remained, Subject 3 and Subject 5. Subject 5 still showed no response to the treatment, and Subject 3's stomach kept growing rapidly. And then just 2 days after the death of Subject 1, she gave birth. Richards was ready this time, having invested in an incubator, and he delivered the baby himself. The baby was just as deformed from the one from Subject 1. Richards separated the mother and the baby without even letting her take a look at her child, much to her protests. He ordered us to close the cell as he took the baby out. We had no choice but to comply. Even the students who reluctantly followed his orders. Subject 3 cried for hours, but Richards muted the camera and focused on observing the baby in the incubator. 10 days later, the baby had grown in size enormously, reaching above 8 feet in height and over 390 pounds. It had grown long extremities, its skin had become extremely hard, so needles could no longer penetrate it, and its face no longer resembled that of a human, with various lumps and visible deformities on it. That wasn't the only thing, though. A scan revealed that the creature itself had babies growing inside of it, at a seemingly fast pace, just like the babies of the subjects. Due to this, Richards dubbed the creature the Mother. The incubator could no longer sustain a creature of a size such a... This is the part I got stuck at because I kept fucking saying the wrong thing. Have not heard anything from the beginning. I might actually use this recording for a video since it's so long. And I'm already going to be doing it, so might as well use it for a video. So you might actually see this on a video. If you guys want like an actual full version of it, I'd be glad. It'd be easier for me because I'm already recording it. So this can be the video after Sunday's video if you want. And it's about time to save the project because I am fucking paranoid as shit right now. The Mother. The Mother. Okay, jeez. The incubator could no longer sustain a creature of such a size, and I knew Richards could not possibly ask the college for more funds. I also knew he would not risk revealing the details of the project to the stakeholders, as they would shut it down immediately. He told me to take some time off, and that he would let me know when my services were needed again. This was bad, because I knew he was up to no good. So to occupy myself during the sleepless nights, I reviewed the project documents that I had stolen. What did I just hit on my keyboard by accident? I hit the squiggly line. That I had stolen. Okay. Sure enough, 10 days later, Richards told me to resume my duties. When I arrived, I saw an electric door, which I hadn't seen. Which hadn't been there before, in his office behind his computer. It led downstairs into a basement, which was expanded onto a huge area that resembled a laboratory. There were enormous test tubes filled with green liquid all over the place, with the biggest one being at the far end of the room. The mother was there, now much bigger than I remembered it to be, seemingly sleeping, and although its stomach was bulging, I could see more smaller deformed creatures in nearby incubators. Richard filled me in on the details. It's going a lot smoother than yesterday, thank you. The mother gave birth to 3 of them and continued to create more. The scan showed 2 more babies inside her stomach. In addition to that, it would seem that its babies also carry their own babies. They are extremely sick, though, so I have dubbed them the rejects. The college approved this? Of course not. They don't know about this. I used my own funding to further the research. I realized then that there were only 9 students present in the building. Where are the other participants? Richards paused before answering. They were found dead in their rooms. Suicide. The weaklings couldn't live with the knowledge of what had to be done for greatness. I also realized that Subject 3 was gone. I didn't ask him where she was, nor how he disposed of the bodies. That left us was only Subject 5 remaining. She was extremely malnourished and sick, as Richards saw no use in it. As Richard saw no use in feeding or taking care of her. Over the course of the next few days, fewer and fewer students kept showing up, more committing suicide, whereas a lot of them were killed handling the babies. It soon became apparent that the creatures were toughening up quickly, their skin becoming hard, their speed and strength increasing. Increasing! It was fucking increasing! Their skin... It was fucking increasing, guys. It was increasing. Their speed and strength increasing way above humans. Wait, I didn't do that right, did I? No, I didn't. Toughening up quickly. Their skin becoming hard. Their speed and strength increasing way above humans. Richard had one of the grown Richards had one of the grown versions placed inside the cell of the prison. Oh my god. Richards had one of the grown versions placed inside the cell of the previous subjects, and sent one student to feed the creature. The creature was highly aggressive, so by the time it was done with the student, what was left of him was strewn all over the cell. Everyone was fully aware of... It was fucking... I'm gonna need more water. I'm getting close to the bottom of the bottle. Bottom of the bottle. Over the cell. What did you miss? Me fucking up forever. Everyone was fully aware of Richard's intentions by then, but no one dared oppose him. A lifetime in prison put anyone off from trying anything stupid, like reporting him to the authorities. Every day he would emphasize multiple times how he would be rich by the time we were done, or how everyone would end up in prison for life if anyone tried to betray him. If anyone decided to betray him. And I lost my place because I knew what he said, but I didn't remember where it was. He knew exactly what to say to instill fear in his subordinates, including me. Out of all project participants, only Richard, myself, and 3 other students remained by day 60, and I knew it was only a matter of time until it was my turn. Things were getting out of hand, and I knew I had to put a stop to this. Richards never let anyone down in the lab without his permission, and he was the sole holder of the key card which opened the electronic lock, but that was of no interest to me. I had to get Subject 5 and the students out of here. Based on the conversations I've had with the guards, they were loyal to their company, but not to Richards, so I knew I could trust them with some of the details. I scheduled my email containing the... I scheduled my email containing all the project data till I met... I hate it. I want to... I scheduled my email containing all the project data to automatically be sent to the security company in the college 12 hours after I start my shift. I then pulled the guard aside from my build... I then pulled the guard from my building aside. I told him everything about the project and how most of the people were dead now, to which he seemed surprised and terrified. He agreed to wait until Richards went to sleep in his room, and that we would unlock the cell and let everyone out. Before we managed to finalize our plan, though, Richards called me into the office, interrupting us. I followed him there and stood in front of his desk, as he stared at the computer screen for a while. When he decided it was time to pay attention to me, he looked at me and said, "We're getting actually close to where I was yesterday, so this is good. I'm going to save right here. That means if I fuck up, if everything crashes, I'll be at a good spot. I'll probably only have like 10 minutes left, so that's good." Is this still boring? Is this boring as it looks? Or feels, I mean, it's not boring to me. It's fine for me. Victor, how are you feeling? I'm fine, Professor. No, you're not. I could see it on you. The whole thing bothers you, I know it. It doesn't. I'm okay with this. Victor, you're a horrible liar. But I have something that might change your mind. Come with me. He opened the electronic door and led me downstairs. By now, most of the incubators had deformed creeper... Oh, my God. By now, most of the incubators had deformed creatures of various sizes inside of them. I wanted so bad to be like, by now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. Today is gonna be the day. I forgot the words for some reason, even though I used to love that fucking song. I don't believe anybody feels the way I do about you now. Alright. Gotta roll my sleeves up because it's getting fucking serious in here. Alright? It's getting fucking serious. Out of them. Some of them much taller than humans. Others the size of toddlers. Richards led me around and stopped in front of me with one of the incubators. Look. He pointed and my eyes widened. Inside the test tube was a very small, perfectly healthy, perfectly normal human baby. Given birth to one by... Given birth to by one of these monstrosities, he said. You see? We achieved greatness. How was this possible? I believe there's a variety of factors. According to all the data I've gathered, there's a very, very small chance of a normal human baby being born. But there is a chance. But that means the project is a failure. We would need to breed dozens, if not hundreds of these creatures in hopes of getting one healthy baby. No! It is not a failure, he rebuked. We're going to go down in history. Why can't you see this? I'm sorry, Professor, but the only thing you'll be remembered as will be a cold, heartless murderer who pretended to be a scientist. I know what the project is truly about. I've read your files, and I know you never intended to use this project for any so-called greatness. All you wanted was to make money, and this gives you a chance to sell these creatures as a weapon on the black market. And I know that dropping out of the project never posed any threat to the participants. You lied to us. That's not... I've already contacted the security... That's not... I've already contacted the security agency and the college. They will know everything soon enough. How dare you, he scoffed. Before calming down. Well, no matter. He pulled out a pistol from behind his back and pointed it at me. The subject is a suggest. A suggest? It is a suggest? Think you are listening, and then he starts singing, and then starts reading again. If that was in the book, that would have been fucking amazing. If I forgot to stop recording, and I didn't realize, and the entire fucking thing that I just did was in there, that would be fucking amazing. Oh my god. I wonder if the guy that I'm sending it to would go over it. I was talking to my boss the other day, and he's really into audiobooks like I am. More so than me, actually. And he told me that there was this book that he just got into, and over the course of the entire book, there's about an hour's worth of fuck-ups where they're just giggling and laughing right on the side of, like doing all their shit. So they'll be reading a line, and then you all of a sudden you just hear So I had some like concerns because I didn't know if mine was going to be good. I didn't know if you were going to hear like certain sounds in the background because I've never done stuff like this without music, which music covers everything with narration. So I didn't know really what it was going to be. But I feel so much better now that I know that there is a big budget book that fucked up. So why did you burst in a song randomly? 'Cause it was in your story. Do you not remember the Fertility Project Part 2? By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. That me. The subject is a success, and the mother will be transferred to a new base for further research. I planned on killing off all the students and the remaining subject tonight, and offering you a chance to come with me. But since you know too much, you'll have to join them. You can kill me, but you won't get away with what you've done. You can't stop this, Professor. Just then, there was a sound of glass cracking behind Richards. He turned around to see one of the test tubes breaking, the green liquid pouring out, and the creature inside stumbling out, ferociously gurgling and striding towards the professor. I'm just going to save the project real quick. Make sure that was correct. Save. Oh, we're almost done with the actual Fertility Project story. This is fucking awesome. Cool. Stay back! Richards fired a few shots into the creature, but it only flinched. And then the mother opened her eyes. Her eyes were completely black, and yet despite that, I knew that her gaze was fixed directly on me. She groaned, emitting a deep vibration, and her child raised her heads in response. More tubes broke, and before I knew it, the professor and I were running back upstairs, Richards locking the doors with his keycard. There was a loud bang, and I turned around just enough to see a dent appear on the door. When we reached the office, Richards fumbled on his computer? When we reached his office, Richards fumbled for his computer, frantically clicking. No, I can't let my data get destroyed, he said to no one in particular. The loud bang now resounded directly on the door behind Richards, but he seemed oblivious to it. I didn't stay to see what would happen to him. I ran the hell out as the bang got... I ran the hell out as the bangs got louder, just in time to hear the door break and a cacophony of gunshots and monstrous screams ensue. Richard screamed in agony, before his own voice got drowned out. The guard was there, and had visibly confused looks on his face. No time! We gotta save the others! No! There's no time! He grabbed me by the arm. The screams of those creatures resounded behind us, and I could see them emerging from Richard's office, covered in blood, with bloodthirsty look on their faces. With bloodthirsty looks on their faces. I stood there for a moment, contemplating my next action. But my cowardice took hold once more, and I fucking threw it. I'm fucking Mike Tyson. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to make it if I went for the others. So instead, I listened to the guard, and we both bolted out of there. Go! Go! Intervention will be there soon. The guard shouted as we ran. But only moments later I heard him get grabbed, as the monsters piled on top of him and ripped him into pieces. I ran outside and stopped only when I reached the gate. The guard who was there stopped me, and upon recognizing me, said that he was informed of the situation of the project. When I told him there's been an outbreak, his eyes widened and told me to stay there. While he His eyes widened and he told me to stay there while he investigates. I begged him not to go, mostly because I didn't want to be left alone, but my pleas fell on deaf ears, and he scurried off. I went inside the guardhouse and picked up the phone, only just then realizing that I had blood on my clothes. I had no idea how I had gotten it on me, but upon inspection, I realized that it wasn't mine. I tried dialing 911, but there was no signal. Upon reading the guideline on the side, I realized that the phone only took calls, but couldn't make them. I dropped the handset when I looked at the camera feed, and saw one of the guards getting jumped by those creatures, and getting ripped into pieces. They were everywhere, and most of the guards were dead. I couldn't stay here, or I'd die. I went out of the guardhouse and ran towards the wooded area, looking behind every now and again to make sure nothing was following me. After what felt like forever and my legs started to give way, I stopped to take a break. The campus was far behind me, and no one followed me. From there, I made my way safely home. Out of all the participants of the fertility project, I was the only confirmed survivor later on. I have no idea what exactly happened, but I heard that the biology building had a pipe explosion, which caused the entire place to come down. Whether it was that, or something else, I'm glad, because it hopefully killed the mother and her nasty children. I wake up every night, seeing her black, penetrating gaze through the test tube, and I feel as if she knows where I am at all times, despite not even seeing me. The guilt of letting those poor students of the subject die wrecks me every day. I was doing so well. The guilt of letting those poor students and subjects die racked me every day as well. I don't feel sorry for the human baby that most likely got killed, though. Nothing good could have come of those Nothing good could have come out of those monsters. The only consolation I have is the fact that Richards died before he could fully weaponize and sell his project. The authorities are now after me, and I don't know if they intend to sentence me to a life in prison, but I'll make it easy for them. There's a gun next to me, and when I'm done writing this, I'm going to use it. Hopefully I'll be able to sleep peacefully again, for the first time in many months. And that was the fertility project. Yes. Oh, I finished it. That was the longest story in the entire thing, so everything from here is a cakewalk. We're going to first mix all the tracks. We still have a lot more to go, but we did it. Well, I did it, but you guys were there too. Yeah. Yeah. Some delicious foods. Your pee talk is coming through. Thank you. So 25 minutes. It's about 25 minutes. So I'll definitely use this for a video if you guys want. Because obviously you won't be able to hear this afterwards because it's going into an audiobook. So, yeah. So then we have so part 1 through I think part 1 through 3 has to do with all of the stuff, like the folders and the files of the fertility project, and the guards actually investigating afterwards. And then there's a couple of things after the fertility project that I can do, which I'll do that at the end because they're the shortest ones. There's 2 afterwards, so we'll do those later. So it's foods. So we'll start with part 1, which is long, but it's not even close to being as long as the fertility project. So Yee. Cool. Awesome sauce. So we're just gonna file, export as MP3. Awesome. I'm gonna send the link to the live stream to the guy who I'm doing this thing for. So let's see if he would want to watch it. I don't know. He's in a completely different country. I don't know how his internet is. He's in Serbia. Apparently his internet's usually shit, so he might not even be able to. But I think it'd be cool if he stops by. Okay. Gotta go. Dinner is calling. Okay, enjoy your dinner. I hope it is noms. Hope it is noms. Oh, man. That was tough, but I'm so glad I got through that. So we're just going to edit this real quick. I zoomed my camera in, by the way. I want to know if you like that more than what it was. If you guys even notice a difference, I don't know. But I felt like you couldn't really see, like the whole point of a face cam is to see my face, but I felt like you saw more of my background than anything, which doesn't really make sense. So, I don't know. What do you want from me? It's so bright in this fucking room and it's hurting my eyes. I really need blackout curtains. Very raw. Cool. For the first time in many months. The bass is fucked up. There we go. So we got parts 1 through 3, so we'll do that next, and then the last two I'll just do off stream, I think. Probably. I don't know. I'll probably do them later. Because I do want to take a break in between. For the first time in many months. That is way too fucking ear rapey. Yeah, okay, I was wrong. I already did bass, but I fucked it up. Okay, so higher treble. Very raw. Very hecking raw. This is taking forever to fucking finalize. And then we gotta do the bass. Turn up the bass. For the first time in many months. Okay, so we'll start with part 1. I say each part might take me like anywhere from like 5 to 8 minutes, so it wouldn't be that bad. All right. So that part's done. Fertility project. That'll be one of the videos. So that's cool. All right. Let's do this. The Survivor. Part 1. I held my trusty assault rifle with a light grip, leaning back against the inside of the vehicle. I couldn't see where we were going, but the ride was pretty smooth, so I figured we were at least not going to an overly remote area. It's been a while since my last mission, and this long drive oddly reminded me of my first intervention with the unit. I was nervous back then, and my commander noticed that. So he told me to pull myself together, because in this line of work, one moment of panic... Oh my god, I keep fucking up. One moment of panic can get your team members or yourself killed. I listened to him, and focused as best as I could on the end of the... and focused as best as I could at the end of the mission was it. And focused as best as I could, and in the end, the mission was a success, with no incurred losses. I've been on countless missions since, and now I have a road in... Why is this so much harder? I've been on countless missions since, and I now rode in the APC. Oh, no, I fucked up again. And as I now rode in the APC, I felt nothing similar to that rookie-like nervousness like on my first mission. We'll be there in around 5 minutes. Get ready, the driver said from the front. Roger that. Roger that. Unit Leader Jones said to turn to us. Oh my god, I can't talk. Roger that. Unit Leader Jones said and turned to us. Safety's off and let's go over the mission details once more. I took my safety off, as he commanded, and returned to my previous leaning position, now holding my rifle a little lighter. Oh, that's not what he says. Now holding my rifle a little tighter. The unit leader and my other 2 team members, Brian and Torres. Tighter. The unit leader and my other 2 team members, Brian and Torres, were leaning forward, visibly on edge. So, what do we know? Brian's asked. The unit leader placed the butt of his gun on the floor, pointing it upwards, and said, We've had a radio silence from the guards at the campus for over 2 hours now. There's 5 of them, and they're supposed to report every hour to HQ. For some reason, though, all 5 of them went radio silent at the same time, and haven't been responsive since. It's almost 2 a.m. on a Friday night. Torres shrugged. Maybe they just fell asleep on a... Maybe they just fell asleep or got drunk. HQ could have given them another hour or so before they started bothering us. There's a reason for them reporting so frequently, Torres. The unit leader rebutted. The college campus is a highly sensitive area, and as soon as there's something suspicious going on in there, HQ needs to take action. And if all 5 of them somehow did fall asleep at the same time, or showed up drunk for duty, they'll have a lot more to worry about than just losing their jobs. So, what's our objective? I asked, calmly. So, what's our objective? I asked calmly, causing the other unit members to jerk their heads towards me. Jones said, Head to the nearest guardhouse near the parking lot, and reckon the situation. If the guard is there, get intel on what happened. If he's not, we'll have to go in. Are we getting support from any other units? Jones shook his head. There's not enough manpower right now. Team Alpha is on Team Alpha's out on another mission, and the other teams are too crucial for the areas they have assigned to. They need to be there in case there's an accident. But the campus is huge. How the fuck are we supposed to investigate the whole place? Torres asked. The truck slowed down, and then halted to a stop. The driver killed the engine, instantly shrouding us in complete silence. "We're here." The unit leader looked at Taurus and said, "That's our job." The back door of the APC swung open, street lights instantly bathing the interior of the vehicle in orange light. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got out after my team members and scanned the area. We were in the parking lot. We were in a parking lot, which was all but empty, save for 4 parked vehicles, which I assumed belonged to the college guards and some of their night staff. There was a toll gate right to the next to the guardhouse and... There was a toll gate right next to a guardhouse in front of us, surrounded by a tall fence on both sides, stretching far beyond our view. This marked the entrance to the campus. The fence made it seem more like a prison than a college, which made me wonder if that was the impression they were trying to give. The inside of the actual campus was coupled with... The inside of the campus was... The inside of the actual campus was coupled... Oh my god, come on. The inside of the actual campus was coupled with tall trees, various paved paths, and... I'm getting mad. The inside of the actual campus was coupled with tall trees, various paved paths, and university buildings, while the outside area was surrounded by thick woods, making the college completely cut off from civilization. There was a single road leading through the woods back into the city, and it took us around 20 minutes to arrive from HQ to the university grounds, so a lot could have happened in the meantime. I glanced at the guardhouse and realized it was empty, despite the lights being left on. "No time to waste, let's move," Jones said and took point. He raised his rifle before even reaching the toll gate, ready to shoot. The unit was authorized to use lethal force, in case we thought we were in any... In case we thought we were in any danger, and more often than not, we returned home with fewer bullets than in the beginning of the mission. The rest of us followed the leader, getting into formation and carefully observing our surroundings. As we got closer to the guardhouse, we realized that something was very wrong over there. We noticed that something was very wrong over there. The 4 of us entered the guardhouse, still gripping our rifles firmly. The handset of the phone dangled off its cord on the table, slowly swinging back and forth in steady motion, indicating that someone had been there just recently. The chair was overturned on the floor, and there were fresh bloodstains on it and the floor next to it. Upon closer inspection, I realized that there was blood on the phone handset as well, in the form of bloody fingerprints. The amount of blood in the room didn't seem like the type of injury you get cutting up a cell. The amount of blood in the room didn't seem like the type of injury you get cutting up a self... Oh my god, come on. That amount of blood in the room didn't seem like the type of injury you get cutting yourself up on a tuna can while having a meal. So we knew right there and then that we were in for a mess on our hands. The fuck happened here? Torres asked. Jones lowered his rifle, looking around the room. I approached the desk and leaned in to take a look at the monitor, which had the camera feed. There was a blood stain on the screen, covered one feed partially. From the dozens of camera feeds on the screen, it became apparent that the whole university was being monitored. I looked around and saw no movement on any of the cameras, but as I scanned through, I saw one of the guards on the feed marked as Lab East, strewn on the floor of the hallway, on his back, with his arms and legs spread. Dark liquid stained the floor beneath him. Damn, that's the guard assigned to secure the eastern perimeter of the campus, Brian said tonelessly. Just then, I saw movement on one of the cameras covering the science building. It was one of the guards, sprinting through the hallway. Although the footage was not clear on this particular camera, the guard was visibly scared for his life based on his body language. He ran in a frantic, panicked motion by flailing his arms and taking unsteady steps, glancing over his shoulder every second or so. When he rounded the corner, he stopped and peeked around, and then instantly backed away in terror. He opened one of the lockers and quickly hid inside. A few seconds later, someone else appeared on the same feed. I couldn't tell who it was, though, because as soon as he did, the camera started acting up, making it almost impossible to see anything. The strange thing was, everything else on the camera seemed fine, but wherever the person moved, the area would be pixelated and grainy just in that particular area. The camera continued acting up for at least a whole minute, as the person made his way randomly around the hallway. Our unit stared, transfixed in it. Our lost my place. Our unit stared, transfixed in anticipation. Eventually, the person walked off the visibility of the camera, and the feed returned back to normal. As we were faced again with the view of lockers, another half minute or so later, the guard emerged from his locker timidly, looking in both directions. He quietly closed the locker door, and Joan pressed the button on his radio and said as quietly as possible, "This is the special response unit. Is anybody out there?" The guard seemed to notice this. As he grabbed his radio and said something into it, Jones waited for a moment, but no response came back. He tried asking again if anyone out there heard him. Nothing but silence. And then something came through. At first it was a second or so of static, and then we heard a male voice breaking up. Repeat the last you cut off. Repeat that last part. You cut off. Where are you? Go and Bill. Okay. Just then, a loud piecing? It's piecing the ears together. A loud ear-piercing animalistic shriek came from the other end of the radio, so sharp and long that I felt shivers running down my spine, even at this distance. The guard on the camera shot his head in the direction down the hallway and started running again, faster and more panicked than before. "This is the response unit leader. You there? In the science building. Can you hear me?" There was another staticky noise, coupled with the sound of broken-up panting and that same monstrous screeching, before it went silent completely. The camera started acting up at the same time as well, and we were unable to see where the guard had run off to and what was chasing him. We stared at the motionless, quiet camera feed for a minute or so, before I finally turned away from the screen. "He mentioned the science building," I said. "We should check that place out first. We might want to call for We might want to call for some backup," Torres stated. "You know the drill," Jones said. "No backup until we confirm what we're up against. Bryans, you stay here and monitor the feed. Keep us informed of any I almost said government. Keep us informed of any movement. Got it?" "Roger that." Bryans nodded and immediately lifted the chair and sat by the desk. "The two of you, you're coming with me. We gotta see if we can save that other guard and get some intel from him," Jones said. Cut that so it's closer. Okay. Cool. I gotta take a swig of water because my mouth is getting dry. Alright. Where am I? We quickly checked out the map on the wall of the guardhouse, which showed where each of the point of interest in the campus was located. The science building was pretty close to the guardhouse itself, to our relief, since the campus was enormous. "Let's move," Jones said and opened the door. The outside was unnervingly quiet as we made our way there, even the chirping of the birds and insects not being heard, leaving us with nothing but the sound of our own boots echoing on pavement. With our years of training and the kinds of missions we've been on before, we knew better than to let our guard down. so I kept an eye on the left side, while Taurus did the same on the right side. Jones took point and made sure nothing unexpected jumped in front of us. The science building stood in front of us, a silent behemoth, 4 floors tall. Some of the classrooms still had lights on, but most of them were engulfed in pitch darkness. Brian's, anything moving in there? You're a narrator yourself? Interesting to watch other people work in a different way. I thought so too. That's why I started doing this stuff, is because a lot of people don't know how narrating usually works. And I know that by hearing other people do it, I knew they did it differently than I did. So I wanted to kind of show how I did it. So necessarily what you see here is not the way to do it. It's just the way that I do it. Because I do live editing. So I'm cutting every time I make a mistake. It makes it easier. So when I'm just editing, all I have to do is put everything together. There. 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 Or I switched the fucking thing. Can you not? Jesus. How long is this fucking story? Jones asked as we neared the statue of a prominent scientist in front of the building. Negative. No sign of the guard either. Brian's voice came over in a reply. All right, let's move. Jones opened the front... I fucked up already. Jones opened the front door, and the 3 of us burst inside, pointing our guns with the flashlights in various directions, illuminating the hallway and lockers in front. As soon as we stepped inside the building, the air suddenly felt extremely heavy, like stepping from a cold room into a sauna. Not physically... Not physically, mind you, but in some way I can't really explain to this day. I usually didn't feel anything except adrenaline on missions like these, but for some reason this time every fiber of my being was screaming at me to get out of there. I couldn't do that, however. I had a mission to complete, and that guard needed rescuing. The unit leader took point and I followed him, as he motioned for us to stay close, quietly taking step by step forward, never letting his guard down. The general rule for the unit was to avoid speaking while on a mission, unless it was absolutely safe, since it could give away our position, so Jones reverted to using hand signals instead. We hadn't made it... We hadn't made it halfway down the hallway when a loud bang resounded somewhere in the distance. Jones raised his hand to signal us to stop. We stood in silence with our rifles raised, pointing them at the far end of the hallway, covering both the left and right side where the corridor forked. And then we saw something run past us from left to right, with an insanely quick batter of barefoot footsteps, disappearing around the corner. I'm not even sure that the word run is the right one in this case, because whatever it was ran past us so quickly that you could literally miss it if you blinked. What the fuck was that? Taurus asked, putting his gun left and right in the Yeah, you're right. Looks like I'm taking it the hard way compared to you or other narrators. What do you mean? I'm using WavePad. Oh yeah, you don't use Audacity. Definitely use Audacity. It's a free program, and pretty much every narrator I know uses it. The big ones included. It's just easier. I've used WavePad. I do not enjoy it. Taurus asked. Damn. Yeah, that is hard. Pointing his gun left and right in a confused manner. We started without blinking, trigger fingers at the ready. Jones just... Oh my god. Jones gently pressed the radio button and asked, Bryans, see anything? There was a sound of static coming from the other end. Bryans, Jones repeated. But no... Jones repeated. but no response came. He looked genuinely unsure what the next best approach should be, but after a moment of contemplation, he signaled us for... But after a moment of contemplation, he signaled for us to follow him. He pointed his gun around the corner where the fast thing had... He pointed his gun around the corner where the fast thing had disappeared, and then... I honestly don't know what happened next. There was a loud screech similar to the one we heard on the radio, which oddly reminded it of skidding... I just paused you. Which oddly reminded me of skidding car tires, but this time it was fuller of audible malice and anger. Jones started firing, filling my ears with ringing noise, mixing with the echoing bangs of gunfire. This all lasted for 2 seconds tops, because as soon as Jones started firing, before Torres and I could even reach him, that thing from before flew back the way it came as quickly as it did before. But this time, it took Jones along with it, making both of them disappear around the corner. Just like that, in a split second. It all happened so quickly that we saw Jones' rifle fall out of thin air onto the ground with a loud clank. Torres ran to the gun and pointed his own gun in the direction where the leader was taken. I followed closely behind, scanning the hallway along with him. It was empty. Rows of lockers on both sides and a hallway which ended in consuming darkness, our flashlights unable to illuminate it all the way to the end. But other than the darkness, there was nothing. "Commander!" Torres called out into the dark. Another scream echoed somewhere in the distance, this time much longer, filling me with primordial fear. I heard that same sound of bare feet thudding on the floor, rapidly approaching us, and I knew we had to get out of there. "Torres, we gotta get the fuck out now!" I turned back towards the exit along with Torres, and we started sprinting down the hallway. Almost a part 2. The scream resounded again, this time right in my ear, and I heard a thump and a yelp, realizing Torres had somehow tripped and fallen. I turned back to help him, and to my horror, saw him getting dragged down the hallway by his foot, almost as quickly as Jones, but now slowly enough for me to see his face full of fear, as he reached out towards me in vain, and screamed futilely. I opened fire at whatever could have been dragging him, even though I saw nothing in the darkness, and just before he disappeared around the corner, I saw Torres turn his back while he still I saw Torres turn on his back while still being dragged, and started to shoot at his captor. The shooting lasted for a few seconds before it abruptly stopped. I stood there with my rifle pointed down the hallway, breathing heavily, the beam of my flashlight steadily going up and down. I couldn't process what the fuck just happened, and then a noise snapped me back from my trance into reality. It sounded like those same footsteps coming from before, right around the corner, but this time slow and dragged on the floor intermittently, and it was getting closer. "It's coming back for you. Hide!" I heard Brian's panicked voice on the radio. Oh, it's panicked? Okay. "It's coming... Okay. It's coming back for you. Hide!" I heard Brian's panicked voice on the radio. I couldn't make up my mind. Should I run? Fight? Hide? My flashlight illuminated an elongated pale hand reaching out and grabbing around the corner of the wall with bony fingers that had jagged, dirty nails. I then heard a wheezing noise from around the corner, as if the creature had trouble breathing, while dragging its feet heavily on the ground. My instincts kinked in. My instinct kinked? This is kinky. This is longer than I thought it would be. It's 15 minutes, actually. My instincts kicked in, and I suddenly knew better than to try to fight this thing face to face. So I ran to the nearest classroom and closed the door behind me as silently as I could, ducking under just in time to hear the footsteps and wheezing get louder and stop in front of the door. I held the door firmly with my shoulder, trying not to make any movements, holding my breath. The only thing separating me from most likely assured death was this door, and the wheezing was right on the other side of it. So close that I could practically smell the monster's rotted breath, even through the small crack under the door. It sniffed. It sniffed the air curiously, wheezing between sniffs. Gradually, the heavy dragging of the creature's feet started again, and it began to fade away along with the wheezing. It stopped again, and a loud sound was heard outside the classroom, like something metallic scraping against another metal surface. More footsteps and wheezing in my direction, but they simply went past the door and gradually faded away. I steadily exhaled in relief when my radio crackled to life, nearly making me jump out of my own skin. They fucked up. Now we're all fucked. It was an unfamiliar voice. There was a blood-curdling scream down the hall again, and a series of rapid footsteps closing in a matter of seconds, before whatever was out there slammed directly into the classroom door. I almost fell over from the impact, but continued holding the door firmly. It was no use, though, since the creature was so strong that it was only a matter of time before it busted the door open. I tried bracing the door and getting my gun ready to shoot when the creature burst in. Damn it. But before I had a chance to do it, there was a loud crash somewhere in the building, and the slamming on the door instantly stopped. Another screech ensued right in my ear, followed by an impossibly quick patter of footsteps, which seemed to cover insurmountable distance within seconds and fade away completely. Whatever caused that crash got the creature's attention, which worked to my advantage. I wasn't sure how long I had, though, so I had to quickly... Oh, I fucked up. So I had to act quickly. It's gone now. Brian's voice came over the radio calmly. You're in the clear. Brian's, where the fuck have you been? I scolded him and immediately moved to the corner of the classroom to avoid drawing the creature back. What the fuck was that thing? And where are Jones and Torres? I'm sorry, Ryan said over the radio. They're dead. You need to get the hell out of there. I'll call backup. Fuck. Is it safe? There's no one there as far as I can see. Move your fucking ass before it comes back. I carefully exited the classroom with my gun raised, looking down the hallway and then towards the exit. As soon as I did, I couldn't help but mouth a what the fuck in frustration and bafflement. The metallic handles on the exit door had been twisted together into a knot, making it impossible to open the door. I was stuck in here. Alright, that was part one. Alright, first off, tracks, mix, and render. I need to take a fucking break. No, backup's not going to help. Ugh. Noise reduction. I need a tissue. In here somewhere. There it is. I have a travel pack of tissues. Come on. Travel pack. Don't know where my big box went, but I have a travel pack, so it's fine. It's nice to see you recording this instead of waiting you to finish. Yeah, it is cool. I like it. That's why I wanted to do this. It's fucking hot as shit in here. Alright, let's see if I can zoom out the camera a little bit. Just a little bit. That's good. Yeah. That's better. Okay. I felt like it was a little too close. But it's better now. Okay. I got a message on... Okay. Alright. And then we're just going to cut this off. Effect, equalization, my presets, higher treble. Effect, equalization, bass. Got to turn up that bass, you know what I'm saying? I was stuck in here. All right. Export MP3. Oh, wait, I should have I'm going to rename this. Rename. No, I can't rename that yet. Part. So 48 part 1. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go get like a soda. I got to use the bathroom. So I will be right back.
My father told me when I was young, don't play with fire, be careful, son. But we were flames and fell in love. We burned the cities down, down. The fire learns you listen. You won't be lonely if you fall in love. Over and over again and again.
Hello. I have returned. We have 2 more parts that I'm going to record on stream, and then I have like 2 things after that I'm going to record later. And then I'm gonna send them over to the guy. And then it's going to be it. And then the audiobook's done. And then you guys will be able to find it on Audible at some point. All right. So, I think I got to open a window real quick, though, because it's really stuffy in here. I don't know how, like, loud it's going to be outside, but honestly, I don't care because it's stuffy as shit. My heat's not on, is it? I hope not. I don't know. But I got a Coke. And I'm just going to... It's probably take another half hour or so. I don't know. Depends. There are noises going out outside. Oh, this one's so long. Alright. Alright, let's do this. Bryant's, come in. Door's barred, I said into the radio, looking over my shoulder. What? Bryant's asked a second later. The door's fucking barred. That thing twisted the metal handles. I can't get out, I said, more frustrated this time. The door's... Oh my god, I hated that. I hated that he was leaf blowing at like fucking 7 o'clock at night. I remember that. The door's fucking barred. That thing twisted the metal handles. I can't get out, I said, more frustrated this time. A moment of silence before Brian's finally responded. Shit. All right, listen. There's a back entrance into the building. You'll have to go to the other side. Got it. Did you call backup? I did, but their ETA is 1 hour. Are you shitting me? There was a head of seven... There was a Oh my god. There was a heavy set of footsteps on the floor above, which reminded me to lower my voice. I gripped my gun firmly and waited for them to fade away, before I spoke into the radio again, more quietly this time. 1 hour is too long. We'll all get killed by then. And if this thing gets out, we're fucked. All of the units are busy. Look, I told them how serious the situation is, and they said they'll send in the air... Look. Oh, come on. I told them how serious this situation is, and they said they'll send in the armored guys. For now, you just need to get the hell out of there, Ryan said. I can't leave. There's someone still alive. I heard them on the radio just before. Yeah, it was probably the guard from before. He's hiding in the basement lab. You see him? Yeah. But forget about him. You need to get your ass out of there. I sighed. Negative. Backup has taken too long. Gotta pick him up before that thing gets to him and get some intel. Are you out of your mind? Brian's agitated voice came through. Why did I pause so long for that one? Did you even see that thing in there? It took Taurus and Jones. You got it. Where's the creature now? I interrupted him. Brian's went silent for a moment before saying, 3rd floor. I still can't see it clearly, though. Must be causing some oh my god, come on. Must be causing some interference with the cameras. Can you see Torres and Jones anywhere? I asked. No, they were taken off camera views. I doubt they're still alive, though. Got it. Gonna pick up the guard. Keep me posted on the creature's movement. Roger, out, Brian said lethargically. Oh. Roger, out, Brian said lethargically. Can you hear this in the background? Roger, out, Brian said lethargically. I raised my rifle and started down the hallway slowly, trying to make a little noise as possible. A little noise. Trying to make as little noise as possible. Although the building seemed empty for now, it was so dark even with my flashlight that it looked like something could jump out in front of me in an instant, especially considering the absurd speed of that creature. I remember seeing on the map back on the guardhouse that the building stairs were on the west side, so I turned left. It worked out well, because in the back of my mind I wanted to take the path where I saw Jones and Torres disappear, in hopes at least to find their bodies, if nothing else. I was just about to turn around the corner when I saw bloodstains on the floor. They went in a straight line across the floor and ended out of my flashlight's reach. They went in a straight line across the floor, and then and ended out of my flashlight's reach. I slowly followed the trail, keeping a lookout in front of for that creature's sudden return. Then the blood trail suddenly ended and my flashlight instead illuminated a boot. I got closer and realized there was an entire body there. Or whatever was left of it. The body was cut in the middle, and literally split in half, from the crotch all the way up to the abdomen. No, more like ripped. The way the legs were spread in an unnatural way indicated that the creature may have grabbed the victim by the legs and ripped the body apart, as incredible as it sounded. But then again, seeing the speed of movement of the creature, that got my teammates, it didn't seem so far-fetched. Yeah. Shut up, wind. Okay. A large pool of blood and spilled guts decorated the floor around the body. I recognized the uniform and my heart sank. Jesus. When I pointed the flashlight at the victim's face. Jones. I'm bad. Jones' eyes stared blankly at the ceiling, his mouth agape in terror. Trickles of dried blood on the side of his face. Fuck. Bryans, do you read me? I said into the radio. Go ahead, Bryans said. I found Jones. He's dead. I knelt down for a better view. Whatever the hell this thing was, it was capable of doing some serious damage. Shit. The creature got him? Bryans asked. I don't know. He's been ripped in half, so whatever did this isn't fucking around. Fuck, man. Any signs of Torres? Not that I can see. I'll let you know if I find any signs of him. Yeet. I proceeded through the hallway and just then heard a loud crash somewhere on my floor. I pointed my gun at the source of the sound, realizing it must have come from one of the nearby classrooms. The cameras didn't cover any of the classrooms, so I knew asking Brian if he could see anything would be pointless. I stood frozen for a long moment, waiting to see if more sounds would come from the classroom. Another crash, but this time from somewhere upstairs. Well, yeah, it's bent metal, so a person isn't too difficult for it. How far behind are you? Oh, man. That's like really far behind. I wish the fucking blinds weren't clanking against everything. Stairs. I knew I wouldn't feel safe with something potentially tailing me from behind, so I decided that the best course of action would be checking it out. I approached the door. I approached the door and reached for the knob, gently grabbing it. As slowly as I could, I turned it and pushed the door. It creaked in an alarming manner, revealing an empty classroom in front. I stepped inside, carefully observing my surroundings, when I saw something move behind the teacher's desk with the corner of my eye. "Don't move!" I pointed my gun to the source. "Whoa! Don't shoot!" A familiar face popped out from behind the desk, raising one hand up. I lowered my gun and breathed a sigh of relief. "Torres," I said, "you made it. Why didn't you use your comms?" Torres stood up and approached me, glancing over my shoulder. "Where's that thing? Is it still around?" "You didn't answer my question," I sternly said. He looked at me and said, "That thing busted my radio. I could hear you guys, but I couldn't talk back." "I see. Listen, that guard from before is in the basement. We gotta pick him up and evacuate." "Pick him up? Are you out of your mind?" Torres got inches close to my face. And said, "Did you fucking see what that thing did to Jones? Our bullets barely did anything to it. The situation is bigger than the two of us. You can leave if you want, Torres, but I need to get intel from him. We don't know how serious this situation is." Torres shook his head in disbelief. Just then, another loud crash came from somewhere upstairs, and both Torres and I looked at the ceiling. He looked down at me and said, "All right, fine. Let's get the intel from the guard, but after we do that, we get out. All of us. No heroics, got it?" "Understood." I nodded. Torres took point, and I contacted Bryans in the meantime. "Bryans, I found Torres. He's... Seriously?" "Bryans, I found Torres. He's alive." Wait, why did I think that cut off? That's weird. "Bryans, I found Torres. He's alive." "Seriously?" Bryans said. "That's great. Now pick up the guard and get out of here." I'm going to restart that. "Bryans, I found Torres. He's alive." "Seriously?" Bryans said. "That's great. Now pick up the guard and get out of there. That thing is back on the second floor now." "Roger." Torres and I went downstairs to the basement, and I felt a lot better now that I had another teammate on my side again. Although I survived lots of missions at the last man standing, a lot of it was luck-based, and as much as I hated thinking this way, it felt relieving to have someone who could potentially take the heat off you, or be in the center of attention for hostiles. I didn't even think about it until later. Jesus, this wind. I don't want to close the window, though, because it gets really hot in here. But had it been me that the monster grabbed instead of Jones, I wouldn't be writing this now. Despite all of this, the mission always came first, and we were trained not to think about the potential risk for our lives. Otherwise, we could lose our cool, and fail the mission or get killed. I saw the sign Lab above the door at the end of the basement, so Torres and I took positions to breach it. He kicked the door down, and I burst inside with my gun raised, closely followed by my partner. The lab was relatively small. A few rows of desks, a big shelf full of various chemicals, and a closet. The room itself had a window near the top, which led directly outside. It was obvious that the only possible hiding post for the guard was the closet. "Come out. We're with the company," I said, pointing my gun at the closet. Nothing happened. "Hey, don't make us fucking drag your ass out here," Torres said. A moment later, a voice came from the closet. All right, calm down." The door opened and the guard we saw on the camera stepped forward. He was very young, In his early 20s, maybe, and looked pale and looked as pale as a sheet of paper. His eyes widened in fear. "You're here to rescue me?" he asked. "Yeah. Tell us what happened so we can get out of here." "Wait, no. We can't leave yet. Not until..." I'm gonna save this, by the way, so just in case I accidentally fuck everything up. Why is this taking so damn long? Why is it going to take 2 minutes to save the project? Not writable or the disk is full. No, it's not. It's fine. Why is it going to take that long to save the project data files? Or the disk is full. That makes no fucking sense. I don't understand. Yeah, it's gonna take like fucking ages for some reason. Maybe now I can save it? No, it's still gonna take a fucking minute. Whatever. I'm copying and pasting. Oh no, please don't fucking freeze on me. Why? What is happening? Okay. Okay, we're gonna copy this. Very strange. Okay, let's get back to recording. We can't leave yet. Not until we kill the mother in the Biology and Genetic Study Center, the guard quickly recited. What are you talking about? You've seen that thing out there, right? There's more of them. The small ones aren't that dangerous, but they grow fast, and their skins become tough as hell. They're all over the campus. They've already killed all of the other 4 guards. All the more reason for us to get out and let the big guys handle it. They'll be in here in about an hour. Let's move. I said, and it was about to get going when the guard spoke again. You don't understand. We can't wait for backup. By the time they come, these things will be all over the place in even greater numbers. Fuck. By the time they come, these things will be all over the place in even greater numbers. They'll reproduce extremely quickly. They reproduce extremely quickly, and if we don't stop it, it's not just the campus that's going to be in trouble. Taurus and I gave each other I need a drink of soda. Taurus and I gave each other contemptuous glances before we looked back at the guard. Tell us everything. The guard started pacing around and said, "One of the professors here ran a project with his assistant and a group of volunteering students. It was an extremely secretive project, so much so that the students were threatened they'd get kicked out of school for disclosing any information. It was called the Fertility Project." "So how do you know about it then?" "Because the experiment's gone wrong, and the whole thing is out of control. Listen, we don't have time for this. I'll tell you everything, but right now we gotta get back to the biology center and I'll tell you for this. I'll tell you everything, but right now we gotta get back to the biology center and... A loud sound of glass breaking resounded in... A loud sound of glass breaking resounded... Oh my god, I can't fucking speak. A loud sound of glass breaking resounded in the room, and a long, emaciated hand reached in through the window. It grabbed the guard by his head and lifted him up from the ground effortlessly. The guard screamed and squirmed, but the hand seemed to grip his... The guard screamed and squirmed, but the hand seemed to grip him firmly like a vice. Taurus and I opened fire on the unseen creature, and almost as we did, it screeched, similarly to the creature back in the hallway. It instantly let go of the guard, who fell down and scooted away to the opposite side of the wall. The hand pulled back out of the window, and a set of footsteps running away was just heard outside. Okay, we're almost done with part 2. Another scream came, but this one inside the building. Another scream came, but this one... Oh my god, why do I keep fucking that up? Another scream came, but this one's inside the building. Brian's. Oh, I'm fucking up. Another scream came, but this one's inside the building. Brian's voice came in. "It's coming down, get out of there!" A second later, we heard that same gut-wrenching set of footsteps, but this one rapidly approaching, and the classroom door swung open. In front of us stood a tall, pale humanoid Create? Really? In front of us stood a tall, pale, humanoid creature. That's the best way I can describe it. It was so tall that I wondered how it got in, since the top of the door frame was way under its head, even though it was hunched over. It had a face which resembled a human's, but it was distorted, with tiny, uneven eyes, a crooked mouth with a jaw that looked like it was broken in places. Thin black strands of hair protruded from its head. Its body was thin, emaciated even, so much that I saw its ribs prominently against its stretched skin. The arms were disproportionately long, almost reaching to the ground, with enormous hands at the ends. The legs were equally skinny, and it ended in large, flat feet that instantly made me wonder how the fuck it could run so quickly. Yeah. As soon as the creature got in, it looked to its left, at the guard against the wall. It opened its mouth and screamed, revealing rows of blackened, jagged teeth. It grabbed the guard by his arm, who started screaming as well, and Taurus and I opened fire, but the creature barely even flinched from the impact of the bullets. Moreover, it looked like the creature's flesh was so hard the bullets didn't even penetrate its skin. It swung the guard and slammed him on the floor effortlessly, as if he were no more than a bag of feathers. The guard instantly went silent as his head hit the floor, but he was still conscious. The creature didn't stop there, though, and swung again, slamming the guard again with a sickening crack. It kept doing so, each time leaving a slightly larger stain of blood on the spot with... each time leaving a slightly larger stain of blood on the spot it would hit. By the time it was done with the guard, his skull was dented in, and his body a bloody mess of unnaturally twisted extremities. It dropped the guard's body on the floor, and then turned its attention to us, letting out another heart-wrenching scream. It charged at me at a speed I couldn't comprehend, and grabbed me by my torso, raising me up. I instinctively drew my knife, and since it held me close enough, stabbed the fucker in the chest. The knife penetrated his skin easily all the way to the hilt, and the monster immediately let me go, and screamed even louder this time, flailing its arms frantically around the room. Taurus and I kept our rifles trained at it as the creature's screams slowly got weaker, until it stopped altogether, and the monster fell on its side, wheezing shallowly. Shallowly? Shallowly. I can't. She's back. Shallowly. We carefully approached it, and before it took its last breath, it looked at me one last time and then closed its eyes. Torres gave it a kick to see if it would get back up. The creature didn't respond to the kick and instead lay there, motionless. "Son of a bitch, you did it!" Torres said, lowering his gun. I knelt down and grabbed my knife, pulling it out with ease, with the squishy sound. The blade was covered in a black blood. I was surprised at how soft its skin was around the chest, so to test my theory, I tried stabbing it in the abdomen, and sure enough, the knife's tip barely grazed its... The knife's tip barely grazed... Oh, I keep saying gazed. The knife's tip barely grazed the skin. It felt like trying to stab a piece of rock with a thin layer of leather over it. "I guess this chest was its only weak spot," I said, examining the wound where I had stabbed it. The guard says there's more of them, but that one that broke the window looks smaller, Torres interjected. "You think so?" I wiped the blade on the monster and stood up. Brian's voice came in. "Guys, are you all right?" "We're fine," I responded. "The guard didn't make it, though. Neutralized the hostile, but there's more of them." "I know. I can see them on the cameras. They're all over the place." Torres stared at the creature for a moment of silence. A moment of silence for the creature's death. "Yes. Yes." Oh my god. "They're all over the place. They're all over the place." Oh my god, stop. Torres stared at the creature for a moment in silence, until I turned to him and said, "I know you probably think we should fall back and wait for backup, but we don't have that much time. We need to stop this thing from spreading." Torres nodded determinedly and said, "You're right. If they really grow as fast as the guard said, imagine what will happen if we have dozens or hundreds of them on our hands." I contacted Brian's again and said, "Brian's, we need to find the Biology and Genetics Study Center. Can you see it on the map?" "Hold on," Brian said. "Yeah, it's just southwest of your position. Should be a big blue building. Meet you there. Wait, before you do, I need you to contact HQ and ask them about the fertility project." "The fertility project? What's that?" "No time to explain. Do it and meet us in front of the building." "Roger that." I gave Taurus a pat on his shoulder and turned to the door, saying, "Let's go kill that mother." All right. All righty then. Part 2 is done. A little bit shorter than the last one. My fucking ear hurts. That's all I gotta say, bro. Oh, man, I just want this to be over. Effect, noise reduction, get noise profile, effect, noise reduction. Okay. Well, no. Equalization. So how you guys doing? Doing good? We're on 2 hours for the stream. 2 hours and 9 minutes. This is the longest stream I've had in a while. I used to do these length of streams all the time, but the videos just don't take that long to make. Let's go kill that mother. Well, at least this one is actually loading. Aw. That's cute. Wait, so what did you eat, babe? I need to know. It's importante. Okay, we're done with that one. So I'm going to close this because it seems like Audacity is bugging out. Okay, part 3, and that should be it. And then we're done after that. It looks smaller by a lot than the other parts. And then after part 3, I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to take a at least an hour break. And then I'm going to go back and finish the last 2 stories, and I'm going to send them over. Oh, you had the leftover pasta, right? Okay, I got you. I understand you, okay? I'm like the only one that does. All right, we got to get into part 3, and that's it for the stream after that. All right. Ooh, excuse me. The fuck? Why did it close? All right. Let go. I forgot to say part 1 and part 2 and part 3 for the other ones. Fuck, I have to open that again. File open. It's in a specific folder. All right. Part 2 open. Part 2. Part 2. Part 2. That should work. I thought you said he has a great cock for a second. I'm waiting for you to be like, yeah, that too. Fact. Noise reduction. Get profile. Yeah, I know. Part 2. I thought that's what she said. Part 2. There we go. That too. I knew it. Fucking knew it. Part 2. Bryans. Bryans, come in. Door's barred. I said into the radio. Why is with all these mouth clicks? Jesus Christ. The door's... All right, listen. There's a... Shit. All right, listen. There's a back entrance into the... Shit. All right, listen. There's a back entrance into... I'm going to lower the volume on this one. Amplify. Turn you down. There we go. Part 2. That's a lot better. Okay, now we can do it. Wait, so let's check out the spacing. Put that right here instead. Bryans, come in. Alright. Now we'll export back as MP3. Okay, now we can get rid of this. Part 3. The walk towards the Biology and Genetics Study Center was uneventful. Taurus and I thought we heard rustling in the bushes on occasion, but nothing came out after us. When we arrived to the front of the building, I contacted Bryans via comms again. Bryans, give me a sit rep, I said. Just got intel from HQ. On my way to you now, he said. Any hostiles around your area? Negative. All clear for now. Just a minute later, we saw Bryans lightly jogging down the pavement towards us. He stopped in front of us and said, Good to see you're both still in one piece. He stopped in front of us and said, Good to see you're both still in one piece. We're in deep shit over here. Well, we assume so, Taurus interjected. So, what's going on? HQ better have a damn good reason for keeping us in the dark like this. Brian sighed and started. They do. The truth is, they have no idea what's going on either. Here's the full story. The company that signed a contract with the college... The company signed a contract with the college. When Professor Richards started, When Professor Richards started the so-called fertility project. The purpose of the project was to impregnate women who were... The purpose of the project was to impregnate women who were deemed infertile or unable to... Come on. Oh my god, come on. Or unable to bear children for some other reason. But the problem is, HQ has no idea what the fuck these creatures are, and neither does the college, and they are the ones who funded the project. The project was top secret, so only the relevant info was disclosed to the company. Unless it wasn't, I said. Bryans continued. HQ suspects Richards is hiding something. The guards at the campus have pretty mundane duties, except for the guard stationed here in this building. His main job was to prevent anyone from entering it, and especially Richards' office, where he kept all his research data. HQ also knows for a fact that the experiments were conducted inside the building, on the basement floor, where only Richards and other project participants had access through his office. So, what does HQ want us to do? Eliminate Richards and destroy his data, along with anything relevant to the project, including the entire experimental lab. That's a direct order given by the client, or should I say the college, to the company. How the fuck did we do that? Taurus asked. Glad you asked. Brian smiled and reached out behind his back. He brought forth a C4 explosive, which he promptly put back. All right, let's move then, I said. We breached the door and found ourselves in a similar hallway to the one in the science building, but this one was a lot dirtier. The floor seemed to be covered in some sort of greenish-brown muck. It was dry in most places, but still sticky and wet in some. Richard's office is on this floor, west side, Bryant said. He didn't even finish that sentence when we heard a sudden scream somewhere in the building. Out of the corner at the end of the hallway, a silhouette peeked its head, staring curiously at us. The creature then came into full view, and what I saw resembled that of a big creature the big creature that had killed Jones and the security guard, except it was a lot smaller, the size of a toddler perhaps. It screamed similarly to its adult version, the sound of screeching car tires permeating the building, but with a lot less intensity and noise. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Excuse me. We managed to silence it halfway through its screech with just a few bullets, but we were too late. Dozens of screams filled the building, and instantly, on our floor and the ones above, we heard hundreds of tiny footsteps running all over the place. In seconds, they started to appear from around the corner down the hallway. Dozens of creatures like the one we just killed, and they all shrieked as they ran towards us. My team and I opened fire immediately, and all of them fell pretty easily. Unlike the big one we saw back in the science building. More and more kept showing up, closing in, as the building was filled with a cacophony of bullets being fired at the creatures, blood-curdling screams. Gotta restart that one. More and more kept showing up, closing in, as the building was filled with a cacophony of bullets being fired at the creatures and their blood-curdling screams. I was about to shout to my teammates to fall back, afraid we'd run out of ammo. But just as quickly as the screams started, they abated and only a few stragglers remained, running over the corpses of their brothers or sisters, trying to reach us, despite not ever having a chance of doing so. Torres shot the final one and the screams completely stopped along with the bullets, filling the building with unnerving silence. See any more of them? I asked, not putting my gun down. That's all of them, Brian said as he reloaded. The hallway was filled with dozens of bullet-riddled corpses of child-sized, freakish monsters strewn all over the floor. The green muck mixed with their dark blood, making the gruesome scene look like a mass tomb. Juveniles, Torres remarked. Carefully, we stepped over the bodies and proceeded to the west part of the building into Richard's office, which ostentatiously, is that what it says? Yeah. Which ostentatiously I hate that word. I hate that. Which ostentatiously contrasted the rest of the building, with expensive-looking drinks in the cabinet, trophies on the walls, etc. There was an electronic door on the other side of the room behind the desk, which led downstairs, and it had a gaping hole in it, the dent protruding towards the office, indicating that the creatures must have broken out from inside. In the corner of the room against the wall was the unmistakably mutilated body of Richards. That's our guy? I asked. Looks like it, Torres said as he knelt down to inspect him. No reason for anybody else to be here. Big unnecessary word, actually. There was a PC on the desk, and despite the room being in a mess and the monitor being overturned, it still worked. I sat by the desk and flipped the monitor upright. The PC was unblocked and displayed the desktop screen. Really? Not even a password? I guess he didn't have time to log out. There was a folder right in the middle of the desktop called FP, the Fertility Project. The Fertility Project? I double-clicked it and there was various files inside, including documents. I opened the first one and it said, The Fertility Project. The purpose of the project is to fertilize females which were The purpose of the project is to fertilize females which were otherwise deemed Oh my god, come on. It's the last fucking word. The purpose of the project is to fertilize females which were otherwise deemed infertile. The project is still in its early stages and purely experimental, and therefore does not guarantee any results. Furthermore, adverse effects have not been 100% eliminated. Adverse effects have not been 100% eliminated, and may be visible in some subjects. Due to this, all participants, including test subjects, are under strict obligation to sign an NDA, under risk of federal violation, in case they disclose any sensitive information. The subjects consist of 5 women between the ages of 20 and 28, who were unable to bear children and signed up as volunteers. They will remain in the facility for the duration of the project, 3 months if unsuccessful, 12 months if able to conceive. During this time, my assistant and the 12 students who have volunteered for the project will run daily tests on the subjects. The entire project has been funded by the college. Well, I'll be, Brian said. I wonder what happened to those women. I opened the next document, which had a timeline of the events. It said, Day 1. Subjects introduced to the facility. Each subject injected with a different strain of redacted. Changes could occur within 14 days. Day 2. No visible changes. Day 7. Subjects 2 and Subjects 4 have unexpectedly died overnight. I have disposed of their bodies and told the other participants they've resigned from the project and were let go. Day 9. Out of the 5 subjects, 2, Subject 1 and Subject 3, were tested positive for pregnancy. This is a breakthrough in science and could solve the lifelong problem of infertility among married couples and otherwise. Day 21. Pregnant subjects' weight has rapidly... Pregnant subjects' weight has rapidly increased along with the size of the abdomen. The pregnancy seems to be processing a lot faster than we anticipated, as the ultrasound is displaying the growth of the fetus, the likes of which was not to be expected seen before the first The like of which... come on, man. The likes of which have... my fucking God. The likes of which was not to be expected to see... I'm getting really mad. The likes of which was not expected to be seen before the 3rd trimester. Day 26. Oh, I fucked that one up. Day 26. Subject 1 has died at approximately 1... Subject 1... Oh my God. Day 26. Subject 1 has died at approximately 1:03 a.m. The rapid growth of the baby has gone out of the hand as the subject's stomach was ripped open from the inside. The baby died shortly after, and upon examination, physical deformities became apparent. Okay. There was a picture under the text. Oh my God. There was a picture under the text, which showed the dead body of a baby on a hospital bed. But not just any baby. It was one of the deformed creatures that we had seen earlier. Fuck, man, Torres said. I scrolled down. Day 27. Subject 3 has given birth to her baby via C-section. Just like Subject 3, Subject 1 baby displayed... Subject 1's baby displayed physical deformities, an inability to breathe on its own. It was put inside an incubator, where it would continue to be monitored. It was put inside an incubator, where it will be continued to be monitored. Day 31. Subject 3's baby has displayed signs of rapid growth, reaching the weight of 23 pounds in just 4 days. It has also grown in size and has therefore been put inside a bigger incubator. Day 40. The baby continues to grow, surpassing 8 feet in height and about 396 pounds. That is not the only peculiar thing about it, however. Upon running a scan, it was revealed that the baby has its own baby growing inside the stomach. It has therefore been dubbed the mother. The funds provided by the college are not sufficient anymore, but if I ask for more, they will require strong proof of why it's necessary. I have no doubt they would shut down the project if they saw what was going on here, but I can't stop now, so instead I'll use my own funds in secret. Day 52. The mother has already given birth to 3 other babies, each of them deformed even more than itself. It was still unable to breathe on its own and must therefore remain inside the incubator, but more and more fetuses seem to be forming inside of it. Day 67. The mother's babies have displayed the same patterns as her, giving birth to their own babies at a rapid pace. The babies, dubbed the rejects, can grow enormously, surpassing humans in size and physical prowess. When they're juvenile, their skin is as soft as ours, but as they grow, their skin toughens starting from the tips of their fingers and toes until it reaches the area around the chest and the heart. Once their skin is toughened completely, it becomes nearly impossible to kill them. However, further tests are needed. Another peculiar thing is that the mother seems to be able to communicate with her children, despite not having... Despite not having... Oh my god. Despite not having... Oh my god. Despite not having any Despite not having any visible form of communication. I should probably save this, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Either way, the project has been deemed a success and will be therefore shut down tomorrow, with everyone but the mother terminated. I almost said the motherfucker. The motherfucker. The mother will be sent to redacted for... The mother will be sent to redacted for further study, where I'll be personally leading the testing. Although the initial goal of the fertility project has been achieved, the results cannot be used with civilians. The results cannot be used with civilians for conception, and will therefore be instead to be used as arms trade on the black market. The assistant subjects and participating students will be disposed of, to prevent any risk of sensitive data being leaked. The document ended there. Well, fuck me sideways. What a piece of shit. Something must have gone wrong before they could terminate the project and the rejects, I said. We have to check out the experiment downstairs. How much we got left? Almost over. Okay. I could see Torres' protest on his face, but he knew we had to do this. Bryant's nodded as well, and we wasted no time. I entered through the hole in the door first at him. Shut up, wind. Shut up, wind. Shut up, wind. Bitch, I'll kill you. Alright. I entered through the hole in the door first, and my teammates followed. The basement stairwell was dark, illuminated only by our flashlights, and now the dim glow of the PC monitor from the office. But as we got down, we reached yet another busted door, which emitted a greenish glow from inside. Carefully, we stepped inside and gasped in awe at the sight before us. In front of us was a very big room. Very tall and very spacious. On each side of the room were long rows of giant incubators that looked like upright tubes, filled with green liquid. At the very end of the room stood a much larger incubator, at first 3 times the size of the other two. this audiobook will cost. It'll probably cost a norm. Yeah, it'll be on Audible, so it'll be the same thing as buying a regular audiobook. At least 3 times the size of other tubes. A behemoth of a creature was dormant inside, only visible with a silhouette from here. The mother. The mother, I thought instantly. Each tube had lights inside, which gave off a sickly green glow, reflecting it on the walls and the floor, even bathing me and my teammates in green. A lot of the test tubes had deformed, emaciated creatures of various sizes and shapes inside of them, who looked to be dormant and unaware of our presence. But most of the tubes were empty, with broken glass and green liquid spilling out off of with broken glass and green liquid spilling out on the floor. I recognized the green brown muck as the one we'd seen back at the entrance. Guess we know now what happened here. How the fuck did the college fund something like this without knowing it was happening right under their Without knowing it was happening right under their noses? You read the report, I interjected. Between $5 and over $25. Yeah, but remember, girlfriend perks. I'm getting a free copy, so you can read it on my account. There you go. Well, I don't know if I'm getting a free copy, but I'm going to ask him if I can, because, I did the whole thing. Noses. You read the report, I interjected. Richard used his own funding, in addition to the college's. Let's check out that tube at the front. That might be the mother. We proceeded down the room, carefully observing the remaining intact tubes around us for any sudden movements. As we got closer, the mother became more and more clear. A creature which easily towered over 12 feet despite being hunched over. Its body was emaciated except for the stomach, which bulged prominently. The arms were disproportionately long, almost reaching down to the creature's ankles. The face, despite having a breathing mask over its mouth, was clearly as deformed as all of its children, with the bulging, lumpy forehead and thin strands of long black hair floating in the tube's green liquid. Her eyes were closed, and even from here, the skin of the creature seemed thick and scaly, like a crocodile's. I knew there was no way we can kill this thing with bullets, so I hoped the C4 was enough to blow her into smithereens. Let's set up that bad boy and get the fuck out. Brian's gladly whipped out the C4 and placed it on the tube, almost as if the explosive... Almost as soon as the explosive touched the glass, the mother opened her eyes, fixating her penetrating gaze on Brian's, and then the sound of glass breaking behind us filled the room. We turned around to see the creatures crawling out of their tubes, producing gurgling noises as the liquid poured out of their mouths. We instantly opened fire, mowing down the creatures that pathetically tried to crawl out of their tanks. But then another sound of glass breaking occurred, this time from the mother's tube. I turned around just in time to see their mother firmly holding Taurus by the torso like a toy. That was a fucking tongue twister. I can't believe I just said that. Lifting him up with ease. By then, all of her children in the room were already dead, so we focused our attention to the mother, opening fire on her. As expected, the bullets simply bounced off, and we watched in horror as Taurus started screaming more and more, the mother's grip on him tightening like a vice. We continued shooting relentlessly, and for an instant, the mother's grip on the Torres We continued shooting relentlessly, and for an instant the mother's grip on Torres loosened, and then she squeezed again, forcefully and quickly this time, crushing Torres' body and instantly killing him. We're just going to save this real quick. Save project as. Yep. Okay. Almost over. She threw his limp body across the room, and she would have hit me and probably crushed me with the impact, had I not evaded. "Fall back!" I shouted to Brian's. We started running for our lives. A very deep, very loud groan resounded. Come on. Every time I try to say resounded, it fucks up. A very deep, very loud groan resounded in the room, making the walls vibrate. We heard the sound of something wet and heavy slapping the ground, and I turned around for a moment, enough to see the mother feverishly crawling towards us on her palms, with the glint of pure hate in her eye. We ran back up the stairs and went through the gap in the door first, turning around to see if Brian's was following me. He was just about to get out as well, when the bony hand of the mother wrapped around him. He tried breaking free, but he must have realized he was done for, because right before he got dragged back down into the dark stairwell, he threw the C4 detonator onto me. He threw the C4 detonator to me. "Go!" he shouted as he got pulled down. I grabbed it, and I knew there was no point in trying to rescue him. I ran as fast as I could, and then I heard the groan of the mother once more, spurring me to run even faster. As soon as I was one step out of the building, I detonated the explosive. "You running outside my window, I'll fucking kill you. I'll fucking kill you." The explosive. Causing an I gotta pee so bad. Causing an alarmingly loud bang inside the building. I kept running as I listened to the building crumbling behind me with a progressively louder noise, until it was almost deafening. Only when I was at a safe distance, I stopped and turned around to face my masterpiece of ruination. I don't know if ruination's a word, but... The building was completely collapsed, and all that remained was a pile of rubble and debris. I leaned on my knees, exhaling in relief, and then I heard something moving in the debris. I looked up, and sure enough, there was something stirring under. In seconds, a giant dust-covered hand popped out, propping itself clumsily on the rubble, and then the other hand. The debris started shifting in large quantities, and then the head of the mother slowly arose, groaning, now with such hate and anger that it looked like it could swallow the entire world. She made one step forward with her hand, and then braced herself with the other, slowly but surely Come on. Slowly but surely pulling herself out of the rubble. Okay, I'm just going to close the window for the last bit of this. There's something outside. Fucking walking around. Can you stop? What? What was it? All right, almost done. Rubble. Okay. I raised my rifle, trying to aim for its eyes, and just before I pulled the trigger, another deafening explosion occurred. I felt the heat of the blast even at the distance as the missile hit the mother. She screamed in agony this time, but also recoiled in visible fear. Another missile and I heard someone shout, "Get to cover!" I did as they ordered, and I turned around. I saw the APC which brought us here pull up and unload a thing round. Oh, come on. I saw the APC which brought us here pull up and unload the thing mercilessly. I hate that word. Pull up and unload at the thing mercilessly. There were dozens of other APCs and even 2 tanks from what I can see, and they were all giving the mother a barrage of missiles and bullets. The mother groaned and flailed her arms, as if trying to swat at pesky mosquitoes, but gradually her scaly skin had started to get bruised and then bloody. And then when her skin was soft enough, the armored infantry of the company ran in and started shooting at the weak spot at her chest. I joined in and fired at the creature with the anger of a man whose entire unit was gruesomely killed, not holding back. The mother screamed and spun around, trying to retreat now, but her screams faded away, and she miserably fell back on top of the debris, breathing out her last breath. "Hold your fire!" Then there was silence. Then there was silence. A few armored security personnel hesitantly approached the dead giant and confirmed she was dead, before the commander started shouting various orders. Oh, God, I'm fucking losing it. Before the commander started shouting, oh my God, come on. Before the commander started shouting various orders to his units on what to do next. When he was done, he approached me and asked, "Where's the rest of your unit?" "Killed in action," I responded. "KIA," I responded. "We didn't know what we were up against. And yet you... And yet somehow you're still alive. Again," he said behind his helmet mockingly. I didn't respond. He grunted and said, "Mission complete. You did well. You should go back to You should go back and report to HQ. Leave the cleanup..." Oh my God, it's the last sentence. I can't even fucking do it. "Leave the cleanup to us. Survivor." All right. That's all the recording we're going to do on stream today. I got 2 more stories. They're probably going to take about like 2 or 3 minutes apiece. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to take like a break for like a half hour, eat some snacks or something. I gotta fucking relax real quick because I've been doing this for like almost 3 hours straight. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been fun. I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it as easily as I have without you guys being here, and that's why I wanted to live stream, because it was getting really mind-numbing to do this constantly. But thank you guys so much for joining. And if I ever do something like this again, to help with the process, I'll definitely do this if the guy is as understanding as the guy who I was doing the audiobook with. Like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you on Sunday, not only for the Deadline podcast, but also for the newest Rain series videos. So, yeah. Love you guys.